friends, we have a page on this site as well, I think. The bottom of 85, and then some texts on uh, 52 and 53. Here's the deal. The tunnel that you came through, built by Hezekiah, in order to bring water into the city so the Assyrians don't find it, he was successful in the effort. And the city went on to survive another 120 years or so. Even after the city was destroyed by the Romans, the tunnel kept working. Kept working from the time of the New Testament, kept working. Hezekiah must have dug a tunnel down here, a pool down here, for the water to dump into. We don't have that one. Likely it was the same footprint where you're sitting now, we just don't have it. But in the time of the New Testament, what seems to be a much larger pool that was here in the same location, that, you know, the water kept coming down. The pool in the New Testament called the Siloam. It's mentioned in the Gospel of John. I'll read the event in just a minute, but in the meantime, something about its discovery. Y'all who came through the Hezekiah's tunnel, when you came out of the tunnel, it was a little bit of open sky. There was a spot where the water was collecting, maybe 8 feet across. Very narrow, yeah? For hundreds of years, we thought that was the pool of Siloam. And if you get a Bible dictionary or encyclopedia that was printed before 2005, that has a picture of the pool of Siloam, it would have been that one.
Which one up there?
No, the one that you walk through, the one that you guys walk through. It's you see where the tallest white structure is? Mm-hmm. Down below, behind it.
Okay.
That's all we had. Even though it sure looked medieval or recent, that's all we had. In 2005, a city came with a backhoe, a city crew, to do some work on the underground infrastructure in this area. In those days, there was a paved street that went from where the flowers are to where this top of the stairs is. Up there, there was pavement. All of this was ground. And they came in to dig a bit, and when they dug down here, came upon these paving stones and immediately identified them as Roman era paving stones. And so the archaeology team came and they started to excavate. And they found steps, you're sitting on them, down to a platform, more steps, down to a platform. There is a corner. You see the steps go off, and here is a corner. The steps go off. So what they found was 3 sides of a pool. The 4th side is down there somewhere, not excavated yet. And they see that it has various layers and steps, so it can have equal access. Doesn't matter how high the water is, you can get down to it. Very large open air pool, fed by Hezekiah's tunnel. Now we have the pool of Siloam. Now we have the pool of Siloam. It seems to be used not only as an open reservoir for water for normal everyday use, but also as a mikvah, a Jewish ritual immersion bath. You can imagine here, I can edit that part out. You can imagine here just a lot of people. Partly the daily use of getting water, partly kids playing and splashing, partly on Friday afternoon, evening, ritual immersion baths, and so on. A very active place. The pool of Siloam.
Out there? So there's the pool there?
The pool goes on for quite a ways. It goes on for quite a ways. The picture here shows some substance to it. Mm-hmm. And if you walk under the steps, On this wall to your left, you'll see a big painting showing it as well. Now the area here, all the trees, the fig trees, the olive trees, it's an orchard farmed by a Muslim fellow named Adam, who lives up there. You see that first white kind of square building? Just to the left. He's just got a little one-room place. And this is his livelihood. A Muslim man. The land itself belongs to the Greek Orthodox Church. And so here you have a Jewish state interested in excavating Greek Orthodox land being farmed by a Muslim. That's one of the nice complexities of the land. We have enough of the pool to not have to excavate all of it. Likely it won't be. Likely it won't be. When Adam dies, he's quite elderly now. When he died, not quite elderly, but he's not young either. His family is scattered. He has no one to inherit. Likely then the land will be snatched by the Antiquities Authority, and then you may see this turned into more of a public park, public area. We'll see. We'll see. Texts.
Paul, when you say
Yes.
snatch, there'll be no compensation for the land?
Well, never as much as you want, and probably not very much.
Not as much as it's worth.
Yeah, Adam will be gone. He won't have a thing to say about it. The Greek Orthodox Church, maybe there will be a concession given to the church someplace else. Now we've got it. Now we've got it. It's a lot of just kind of crowding space. Yeah, yeah. Now we saw before that the most likely location for the palace was up top. And down below here, where the water dumps out and where the soil collects, where the valley opens up a little bit, I would think it's also royal land, probably the king's garden. And so you've got texts like this, the Song of Solomon. The whole book takes place between the guy and the lady, and much of it is rendezvousing in the garden. Song of Songs, chapter 6, verse 1, my beloved has gone down to his garden, to the beds of balsam, to pasture his flock in the garden, to gather lilies. A lot of nature language in the book, in the Song of Songs. It's kind of the rendezvous point. If the writer is the son of the king, you hope that the king is up there and you can do some things down here he won't notice quite so much, right? It's sort of that dynamic. But the whole book, very elaborative, both of nature and the human relationships between the guy and his lady, and the lady and this guy. So you can do that setting down here if you want. There's a text that talks about when, this is a nasty one, when Nebuchadnezzar conquered the city, the king Zedekiah, the Judean king, fled by night. It's the captain refusing to go down with the ship but trying to escape in the last lifeboat. Fled by night by the way of the gate between the two walls beside the king's garden toward the Arava. Somewhere down here, a double wall through the garden, sneaking around the end of the Mount of Olives and down. We've got, after the return from exile, when the city is still ruined, Nehemiah going out at night as well. Nehemiah chapter 2, I arose in the night, I and a few men with me. Didn't tell anyone what God was putting into my mind to do for Jerusalem. The only animal with me was a donkey I was riding on. We went out by the valley gate in the direction toward the dragon's well, on to the dung gate, inspecting the walls of Jerusalem, the broken down gates. I passed on to the fountain gate, the king's pool. No place for my donkey to go. Picking his way among the ruins of the city. We're not sure where these places are. The king's pool, the fountain gate, the valley gate, the dragon's well. You know, these lower spots where water comes out, you go out to find the water. I wish we knew where these places were, some of them. But somewhere down here on the southern end, you can imagine Nehemiah on his donkey at night, looking at the city, planning it out. If it were daytime, people would say, Nehemiah, what are you doing? He's trying to get a plan in secret. Once he does the reconnaissance, Then he says, guys, we can build a city. Then you've got the story in the Gospel of John. John chapter 9, Jesus meets the man who was born blind. Says, go down to the pool of Siloam. Wash yourself, you will see. So a healing pool as well, in some way. And then finally, a statement from Josephus, you can read it here. When the city of Jerusalem is destroyed by the Romans finally, people would flee every which way. Every which way. The bottomest part of the city, the spot deepest to go, are the bottom of the sewer channels under the street down here. And people were hiding there as deep as they could go into the city, as the Romans tore through the city up above trying to find people. And they finally found Jews, we read in Josephus. You can read about it in the text. Down this set of stairs goes to a street that goes back up to the Temple Mount. And we found the street, and we found the sidewalk, and we found pieces of the sidewalk that are broken, and we find the sewer channel underneath. You know, elements, architectural elements of that most desperate moment as the city was being destroyed by the Romans. All right. This material evidence, this real evidence, this sense that there's life, you know, behind the text, in the text, through the text, that you can see and sense when you're here. Every place you go, something happened. Yeah. Okay. It's 11:45, so we filled the time nicely, including the famous part, the Hezekiah's tunnel part, and a few extra things, right, that even you didn't do last time. Yeah, some extra stuff coming down here. And so we're more or less done. You'll have the afternoon off, or you can museum it or other things, or spend the whole afternoon just trying to walk back up the hill. Tomorrow, this one is critical. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to meet you again.